Lush, and I'm here at the Hub Culture Pavilion in Davos at the World Economic Forum. Very pleased to be joined by Michael Posner. He is the director of a Center for Human Rights and Business at NYU Stern Business School. Thanks very much for coming along.
Pleasure to be here.
So we're coming up on the 2-year anniversary of the Bangladesh factory disaster. What changes have you seen in businesses and their regard for human rights in the last few years?
Well, one of the things that happened after the Rana Plaza disaster is that about 200 global companies came together in 2 agreements, one mostly European, one American, to begin to look at factory safety. That was a first step. And now we're seeing the next phase, which is it's a big problem. It's going to cost literally billions of dollars. And there needs to be a comprehensive view that includes governments, these companies, local companies, the World Bank and others. But we really are seeing that companies are paying attention in a way they never have before.
And have you seen a change in the government of Bangladesh as well in terms of how their regard for human rights at the workplace?
Unfortunately, the government of Bangladesh is part of the problem. There's a real governance gap. The government neither has the resources nor, frankly, the will to do what needs to be done. And so you really have to compensate for that by saying to companies and saying to other governments, Western governments, you have to pitch in here because this is a problem that's not going to go away, certainly in the short term, if you wait for the government of Bangladesh to do the job.
Every year when I have Salil Shetty here from Amnesty International, he has a list of companies and worries, concerns, and I know he's always concerned about India and how businesses are dealing with human rights there. What have you seen in that country?
Well, I think India is a place, one of the problems, one of the challenges is child labor, forced labor. Those are huge issues in a country as big and complicated as India with so many poor people. But I think the Indian government is now paying again more attention to this. The interesting thing is that global companies, the biggest global companies now I think recognize that in the 21st century they have to have an affirmative look at human rights as part of a broader sustainability agenda. And so you're seeing a number of companies operating in India, operating in Bangladesh, operating in China, saying we know we have a responsibility, we just have to figure out what it is. And what we're trying to do is say let's have some industry standards across the board, set some metrics, that's what businesses do, and then create some kind of a means to implement and evaluate those that are doing a good job. Consumers need to play a part too because they need to reward the companies that are doing the right thing. And some companies are. They need to get credit for that.
Which companies would you highlight as being the good guys?
Well, in the Bangladesh context, a company like H&M has really stepped up to the plate. Historically, Nike, Adidas have been leaders. A number of other companies in the apparel industry. In the commodities area, food and beverage, Coke, Unilever have been really out front. And in the internet sector, Google, Microsoft, Yahoo have played a leading role and I think are more and more aware of issues like consumer privacy with respect to their operations. So there are good companies, but there aren't enough, and we need to keep pushing for a more level playing field where more companies feel we have to come to the table and take our share of the responsibility.
Michael, I could speak to you all day, but thanks very much for stopping into the Hub Culture Pavilion here in Davos, and I'm Edie Lush.